Salem, Massachusetts, it was one of the best solo trips I've ever been on. And I've been on a few. I've been to London. I've been around my own city. Salem was just delightful. And I'll tell you why. So what drew me was I have not spent a lot of time in the Northeast. Okay, so I have spent much time in Europe, out west in the United States, but not in the Northeast. So when I got an email from Scott's Cheap Flights, now known as Going, to Boston, I thought, well, Salem seems close enough. I looked it up. It was a quick train ride from Boston's airport, and I booked it. And my husband decided he would meet me in Boston for the weekend, and I would spend a couple days during the week in Salem. Now, this was the weekend after Halloween, so I knew that I was not interested in going to the massive crowds during Halloween and all the witchery and wizardry. That ain't me. So I went, I got on the plane. It was super stressful because, whenever you're trying to go do something fun, life happens. And I developed a serious neck pain. And so on the plane, I was thinking, I don't know how I'm going to go through this trip in this much pain. So I start finding massage therapists, and I'm texting from the plane, please take me tonight when I get there. Well, I finally found one, and she was the one. She literally saved my trip. So when you're ever in a pinch like that, literally in a pinch, I would make it happen, do what you need to do. So I went ahead and booked it. I got there, she did her magic, and I went straight to bed and had a great night's sleep and had a lovely next day. And the next day involved so many wonderful things. The weather was gorgeous. It was crisp, cool. The season, we don't get a lot of seasons in the South. I'm from New Orleans, and it's just hot a lot. So the trees were changing. It was phenomenal. So for Southerner, it was great. And I walked around. I ate at whatever time I wanted, which was part of what I love about traveling solo, because my husband and I have very different eating schedules. I found the best clothing shop, and you're looking at one of the items that I bought. I love this shop. It's called Modern Millie. They have an online presence. I bought this dress and a sweater, and I love quirky clothing. Okay, so I am going to buy whatever. No, it's super reasonably priced too. So Modern Millie was probably my favorite find on the whole trip. I did go into some other shops, some witch shops. They weren't allowing pictures, so I have nothing to show you. But I also decided to go eat at Turner Seafood, which was recommended by the Modern Millie ladies, and they had the best clam chowder. It was so good and just yum. And of course I got French fries because I always eat fries. So after that, I decided to go ahead and go to the Peabody Essex Museum, which I'm not a museum person. You're not going to catch me going to all the museums in every city, but I heard so many good things about it, and they had this special exhibit called, it was something about the witch trials. So what the heck, I'll go. I go to the museum. The witch trial exhibit was so cool. It was Alexander McQueen, the fashion designer, had a relative who was hanged at the witch trials, and so he did this whole design around the witch trials. It was an inspiration for him. So it was really cool to see. And while I was meandering around, I asked a lady to take my photograph, just to, get evidence that I was there. And she and I ended up realizing we were on the same tour that night it was, more witchery information. And so we met up after we were both done at the museum, and we went to the tour together, which was so much fun. It was a couple hours, easy, walked all over Salem, and we decided to go to dinner together. And this lady and I, we keep in touch to this day. And this was a couple years ago. So I highly recommend. I mean, this is what solo travel is about, though. So, when you're with someone, you don't have to talk to someone else and get them to take your photograph. But I would never have met this lady, and we wouldn't be friends today. So that is one of the reasons why I love solo travel. And sometimes I just need to know new people. And I always know I'm going to meet cool people when I travel by myself. So we decided we were going to get together for breakfast, but the next day when breakfast came around, I said, my bed and breakfast, which, by the way, called Morning Glory, and was chosen because, well, they had availability, but also because my travel inspiration in life, Samantha Brown, stayed there. And of course I was like, maybe I stayed in her room. I have no idea. But anyway, I did get to stay at the same place as her, so that was exciting for me. And so the next day, I got to go back from where the tour guide had told us some of the areas. I walked through those areas again in the daylight, and it was so much fun. It was just such a lovely city, easy to walk, easy to navigate, and man, I just can't get enough of Salem. And after a full day of that, I went on to Boston and concluded my trip, my solo time in Salem. And I would love to do it again. I keep wishing I could go back, but there's so many places to go. So if you're thinking about Salem, do it. It's fantastic. It's easy. You really only need a couple days there. It's not like a week-long thing, but you can always tag Boston on, which could take up a few days too, and it is just a delightful experience. So my solo trip to Salem, Massachusetts was a huge success, and I highly recommend it.